People and vampires used to go on hunts together. Now, they live together in peace as long as they follow certain rules. But when a bloodsucker went too far and started a fight, everything changed. Hello, I'm RH Recap, and you're watching Night Teeth right now. Let's get started. Jay Perez gets to the wash late at night to pick up his girlfriend Maria. While they are in the car, Jay sees that a Maserati is following them. Jay's response to the car showed that he knew it and was not happy to see it. In a second, they both stop, and Jay grabs a gun. Victor is the name of the blonde guy in the Maserati. When the light goes green, Jay puts his foot on the gas and drives away. Jay got out of the car to find Victor and told Maria to drive away. He found 3 bloody bodies hanging upside down in a basement. Mari was about to start the car when someone suddenly broke the window. Jay heard the noise, but when he looked in the car, he didn't see Maria. Benny, the main character, was sleeping like a baby in class. Benny is a nice, simple guy who lives with his grandma and goes to college to study economics. In his free time, he makes pretty good beats. Benny's grandma, Abuela, is a sweet old woman who loves to cook for him. Benny's room also shows that he likes skating and the anime series Naruto. He heard his brother Jay talking on the phone while he was making a new beat. Jay is a personal driver for very rich people, but today he had other plans. Benny needed money, so he wanted to take his place and work for him. At first, Jay didn't believe his brother, but in the end, he chose to give him a chance and gave his brother the keys. Benny's job was to drive people around in a black Cadillac Escalade that was very nice. This car could be started by pushing a button on the outside. Also, since Benny was filling in for Jay tonight, he had to tell everyone that he was Jay. Benny was very excited to drive a fancy car while dressed up. His face showed that he was as happy as a child who had just gotten a new toy. Benny took his clients to a house by car. He was very scared. He wanted to look like a real pro. A beautiful girl with red hair came out of the house all of a sudden. Benny thinks her name is Zoe Moreau, but her name is really Blair. Zoe and Blair were good friends. Then, because Blair saw that Benny's zipper was down, he made a fool of himself. Besides, he didn't know that he was supposed to open the car door for her. He had no idea what to do. From a mile away, it's clear that this was his first time working as a personal driver. We finally meet Zoe Moreau, who is a very strange person. Bold, but with a lot of style. Benny's job was to drive the girls to 5 different places before dawn. The girls asked Benny to play a game with them while they were in the car. They asked him what he would do if tonight was the last night of his life. Blair and Zoe were hoping for something amazing, but Benny said he was a pretty chill guy who didn't have any specific dreams. Zoe asked him who he was at this point. Blair or his grandma is going to kill him. Benny tried to sound like a professional, but in the end he made a joke about killing Zoe. Benny kept looking at Blair the whole time they were in the car. He liked her a lot. When they got to their first stop, he told her he liked her. Before going into the house, the girls took out an amulet with a red stone because it was a party with masks. It seems that if you had one like that, you could only pass. At the same time, Jay was thinking about how to deal with the vampires on the same night. A war had been started. Benny got out of the car to get some air because the girls weren't back yet. Soon after the girls left the house and went to their next stop, he found the same amulet they had. They pulled into an underground parking lot, and Benny had to wait for them again, just like the first time. Benny noticed that Zoe had left her phone in the car while they were talking. He also saw that Victor had sent her a text message. Victor was asking for Jay, which seemed strange to Benny since he was Jay for the night. Soon after, Benny tried to call Jay, but he didn't pick up. He thought this was strange, so he opened Zoe's purse and found a lot of money with blood on it in the middle. As he touched and counted the money, he got blood on his face and on the collar of his shirt. As if that wasn't bad enough, an officer walked into the parking lot. Benny didn't wait long before getting out of the car and running into the house. It looked like a hotel from where the girls came in. Benny met the concierge at the door. The concierge saw that Benny was very upset, sweating, and had a bloodstain on the collar of his shirt. She was about to call security, but when she saw the charm in Benny's hand, everything changed. The butler started to apologize right away, and Benny tried to act like he was the real owner of the amulet. Benny was shown to the elevator by the concierge, who told him to drink sensibly, but she didn't mean with alcohol. Benny was scared when he walked into the room and saw Blair and Zoe sucking blood from the necks of two men. Benny was scared when Zoe, who had blood on her mouth, picked him up with both hands. At this point, Benny said that he wasn't really Jay, but was instead his brother. Zoe wanted to drink his blood because he didn't think he was useful because he wasn't Jay. But Blair convinces her by saying that Benny will take them to Jay. One of the guys woke up all of a sudden. It turned out that this party had been planned, and these two people had chosen to be eaten by the vampires. They were getting paid to use her blood to feed the vampires, but Zoe got a little too wild and killed one of them. She didn't hesitate before telling Blair to kill the second guy. In the meantime, Benny started to run outside. When he got there, the cop he had been trying to avoid stopped him. Benny tries hard to tell the officer what happened, but the officer doesn't seem the least bit surprised. In fact, he wanted to arrest him and take him away, but the two girls who were done with dinner stopped him. It looked like the girls and the cop knew each other. He knew they were vampires. In fact, after they talked for a short time, the officer let Benny go. Zoe saw him and broke his phone when he tried to text someone. In the meantime, Victor was drinking fresh blood in his very nice home. He had people in the bottom of the house whose blood was being taken. Inside the glass boxes, they were tied down and sleeping. After a taste of blood, Victor gets in his Maserati and goes to see some important people. Benny was in the car with the two girls and tried to get away one more time. He unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car, but Zoe had appeared in front of him as if by magic. Back to Victor. He came to the city to see Grace and Eva, who are both very powerful vampires. Victor actually worked for them. Grace and Eva worked for another boss in Los Angeles named Martin. The girls know that Victor went outside of Boyle Heights and killed Jay's girlfriend, Maria. Now, the girls have to decide how to punish Victor for breaking a peace pact that had been in place for years. Grace told Victor that he would not be allowed back in the town for a long time. But the girls were surprised when Victor said he wasn't leaving. Then he told everyone what he was going to do to take over all of LA. Eva tried to call Martin right away, but she didn't know that Martin had already been killed by Victor. When Victor pulled out Martin's ear like Mike Tyson, it made them gasp for air. At this point, nobody could help them. Benny and the girls had stopped at a market in the meantime. Zoe went to the store to get something. Benny was very upset in the car, and Blair tried to make him cool down. She told him that people and vampires live together in this town as long as they follow the rules. She also told them that Victor's girlfriend is Zoe. The money from businesses and blood clubs is handled by Blair and Zoe. Victor had been planning this night for a long time because he wanted power. He wants to kill all 5 of the city's leaders and take over the whole city. Blair also tells them that Benny's brother Jay runs the Boyle Heights area and that Victor wanted to use him to turn Jay against the city leaders. So, Victor killed Maria to make Jay angry, but the plan changed when Benny showed up in place of Jay. So Benny was supposed to bring the girls to his brother. There is a spark between Benny and Blair, and they are getting closer. In the meantime, Jay got his group back together to go after vampires. When they got to the home of an LA boss called Gio, Gio tells Jay that Blair and Zoe came to his party and killed a lot of people and took most of his blood. So he needed a drink right away. After saying that Blair and Zoe were going to a popular club in LA called the Three Kings, he is killed by gunshots. Blair, Zoe, and Benny go to the Three Kings Club, and the girls want Benny to come with them so he doesn't run away. Benny's college friends know who he is before he goes into the club. They stop Benny because they want to use him to get in. Then they made fun of him because he was a driver. Blair couldn't take it any longer, so she grabbed Benny and kissed him. In the meantime, Jay and his friends were already at the club and looking for the two girls. Gio said that Blair and Zoe meet Caleb, a vampire hunter, in the club. Caleb wasn't alone, and a group of guys surrounded the girls in an instant. When they were going to kill them, Benny threw the champagne bottle over Caleb's head, which got everyone's attention. At that point, the girls were finally able to get away. As they were leaving the club, Benny did something on the spur of the moment that made Jay see him and recognize him. He was stopped by a member of the staff, so Jay got angry and hit him in the heart with a knife. After that, the vampire fell to the ground and started to burn. Just as the girls and Benny were about to get into the car, Jay's group started shooting at them with crossbows. They got in the car right away, and Benny drove off. Zoe stuck her head out the window and howled as if there were no risk. Benny chooses to help Blair and Zoe get away, so he lets them hide at his house. Benny's grandma was terrified and wanted to know what was going on right away. Before this, Benny had never brought a girl home. During this time, the cop who works for Victor stops Jay and his friends. He told Jay that Victor wanted to talk to him at the restaurant Rosso Puro. At Benny's house, Zoe was on the phone with Victor, who told her there was only one more boss to kill. Benny and Blair liked each other more and more as the night went on. The way Blair is so charming and the way Benny is so simple make Blair feel sad. See, Blair used to be human and live a normal life, but Zoe changed her into a monster. She misses being a person sometimes. It was time to move on to the next place, but Blair didn't want Benny to come with them because it could put him in risk. But he still wants to go with him. In the meantime, Jay goes to the diner and meets Victor there. Victor wanted to waste Jay's time so he could make his last move. While Victor was talking to Jay, Jay shot Victor in the head and was about to stab him in the heart, but Victor stopped him and started to grow a new head. Then he told him that he had killed Maria and cooked her meat just like she was eating it. When Benny and the girls get to Rocco's bar, a crazy man is there. Rocco didn't understand. The three people showed up without warning, and he looked scared, but he was just confused. Benny and Blair went outside because Zoe wanted to talk to him. Zoe took out a knife after she and Rocco had a drink. Outside, things start to get interesting when Benny and Blair start talking about their pasts. After that, they began to kiss with a lot of desire. Inside the bar, though, Rocco understood that Zoe was there to kill him, and when she tried to hit him, he was able to stop her. After that, Blair and Zoe started fighting with Rocco's friends. In the meantime, Benny got in the car and hit one of the vampire hunters with it to help the girls. The night was over, and Blair and Zoe had reached their goals. However, Zoe was hurt and needed blood. Benny drops off the girls at the last place on their list, but when he gets there, he finds out that the house belongs to Victor. Blair tells him to leave, but Benny won't because he doesn't want to leave his brother inside the house. Benny finds several human prisoners that Victor is using as blood bags to feed on. One of them is Jay, and when Benny tries to free Jay, Victor grabs him. Then Victor and Zoe said they would kill him. Zoe figures out that she cares about Benny. Victor gives Zoe a knife, and she hits Blair in the stomach out of anger. In response, Benny uses a remote control to start his brother's car, which breaks a window and lets in enough light to kill Zoe. Victor then strikes Benny by luring him with Jay, and he bites Benny. Before Jay kills him when they meet in the sunlight. Soon, Benny turns into a vampire, and when Jay decides to start training to become a professional vampire hunter, he tells Benny that he expects him to fight with him when the city falls apart. Later that night, Benny goes to Blair's house to drink blood. If you liked this video, you can watch more by clicking on the pictures below.